This conference will now be recorded.
We are going according to STLC process. In that STLC process, now we are going into test plan, right? So what is a test plan? What is the use of this test plan and who is preparing this test plan and what it is describing us is important. As soon as the company level documents are approved by your client and your managers, your leader, your team lead, we call team lead, we call QA lead or test lead, different designations have been given to those guys. And your team lead is now ready to prepare a test plan for the entire testing team, how we need to carry on your testing on the current project testing. So test plan is prepared based on test strategy and test policies. Okay, based on that, they have to, even your leader will go through those documentations, he will study them, he will understand the high level hierarchy. Once he understand, then only he can implement that process. So test plan is describing us, very clearly it is describing us what to test, how to test, when to test, and who to test. It's giving a guidelines to testing department. A test plan is a guideline document or roadmap which will help you or which will guide you how we can reach the milestones of your current project. Reaching milestones are very important. You can't take your own ideas and you can't go ahead according to your own plan, right? You have to wait for your leader. So what is plan is? Plan is a strategic document which describes how to perform a task in effective and effective data. Describing to perform testing in an effective way and effective manner. So once it is sent to your testing team for review purpose, once it is prepared by your leader, it will be sent to your client and it will be given one copy to testing team also. You guys, what to do? You go through it before you start testing your project. Try to understand your roles and responsibilities assigned by your team lead. Try to understand what are the hardwares and softwares we have to implement for that project. Try to understand what implementation process to be followed and all that. So test plan, now from now we go with the different templates. The templates will vary from organization to organization. So here I have some content which is prepared by your team lead in MS Word. They'll prepare a test plan like this. This first objective, they're explaining what the scope of testing, and they're explaining us reference documentations, test items. In the test items, they're explaining us what to test and what not to test in the project. And then four, they're telling us test strategy, like testing types to be followed and what type of functional testing techniques we have to implement. And number five is explaining us environment setup, what kind of environment setup we require for your testing. And also is telling us when to pass a test case, when to fail a test case, and how to close your defects. Okay, how to analyze your defects and close them. And what are the documentations or what are the modules we are delivering to the customers, we have explained here. If any automation testing required, this index will be added. Only automation testing is required, otherwise it is not mandatory. And also they're explaining us what are the risks we have in the projects and what are mitigations we have in that projects, and also hardware and software requirements required for their project testing. And also they'll tell us how many testing team required. Resource plan means how many team we required for that project testing. And finally he'll be giving us summary report, the overall summary report, or we call build post-mortem report. Final report should be prepared here. Let me explain you all the contents one by one. Objective. So what is this objective means? Objective is nothing but the main purpose of the test plan will be described here. What exactly the purpose of this plan? A test plan is not that easy. Your leader is not one place or two place having some past experience. Everybody cannot become a leader, right? You should have some good experience on it. You should understand the project. Based on that, he can assign. So here is telling us scope of testing. How much of testing can be done? What kind of testing should be done? Whether to go with manual testing or whether to go with automation test, identify it first. Yes, some projects we have to do manually and also we have to go with automation also. So they have to identify scope. So what kind of testing the testing team is responsible to test an application is known as scope of testing. Testing is, suppose for example, your leader is saying testing team is responsible for manual testing and automation testing of the project. He's saying us to go with manual plus automation. Maybe for this current project we may require. He will explain us very clearly. Not only that, number two, he's explaining us reference documents, very important. You cannot prepare on your own. He's telling us the documentations. What are the documentations we need to refer for designing your test cases? If you are going with SDLC process, compulsory we have to refer SRS documentations, and also leader also will refer SRS document to prepare test plan. And you guys also, before you start writing your test cases, you need to refer SRS documentation if it's SDLC. And if it is agile process, you need to refer Scrum stories of the project. Based on that, you have to prepare the test cases also. He's going to list out, don't worry. He's telling us what document. He'll give the link also to you from where you can get those documentations, how to download them. You go and refer them, understand them, and then start writing your test cases. And also he's telling us test items. What are the items? That means items means nothing but modules. For example, in a project, we have 50 modules or 100 modules. Assume that. It doesn't mean that we should test all 100 modules. Yes, we have 100 modules. It doesn't mean that we should test all those 100 modules for the current version. He will identify, he will tell us features to be tested. See that he's telling very clearly. Features to be tested means what? What are the modules that we need to test for the current version? I'm not talking about project version wise, module wise. So here is listing out the list of functionalities or modules which the team is responsible will be described here, and also list of testing which the testing team is performing on the modules also will be described. He'll tell us what are the modules we have to choose for testing for the current version and what testing techniques we need to follow. He's explaining very clearly. For example, testing team is responsible for book a flight. For example, I've taken a flight reservation application. In that flight reservation, you have to go for testing, book a flight, book a hotel, and manage my booking. That means you are responsible for these three modules. There are a number of modules, but for the current version testing, you are responsible to test only these three modules. Why? Maybe these are requirements required for the customer, maybe. So you are supposed to either manual testing or automation testing team, whatever modules are assigned by your leader and whatever modules are selected by your leader, you need to go and test only those modules. Not only that, he's giving us very clear one more. Features not to be tested also. He's telling us what are the modules need not go for testing. So whenever features not to be tested, that means here they're going to list out the modules for which testing team is not responsible will be described. Yes, remaining modules. Why he's telling us not to test those modules? Maybe different reasons. You may have different reasons on that. Okay, maybe there are those requirements are belonging to performance, maybe load testing, stress testing. I told you already in black box testing. In black box testing, I told you already. There may be two departments for you. One is functional testing department, one is automation testing department. Maybe you are selected as a functional tester. None of your business to work on the performance, right? And performance tester is none of his business to work on functional testing techniques. So, to which modules are assigned, you are supposed to test only those modules. So, he's telling us very clearly what to test, what not to test. Then, what is tester required? Don't take your own decisions here. Wait for your leader. He'll explain very clearly. And also, test strategy. What is a test strategy? What is the meaning of strategy means? The list of steps which we are going to take to accomplish the task or a plan. The list of functional testing types will be described, which testing team has to perform during your testing. Maybe he's telling us you have to go with functional testing like regression testing, read testing, usability testing, compatibility testing. He listed all the techniques. Yes, we learn number of things. Doesn't mean that we implement all those techniques on that project. It all depends upon the type of the project. It all depends upon the types of the requirements we got from the customer. Then your leadership will manage them. They'll understand, they know very well what exactly we need to implement. And also, he's giving us a short plan. What exactly, how to achieve the plan is very important. So, and then immediately he's telling us environment, test environment. Yes, 100% is very much important for testing team, especially. This environment setup we don't require while writing test cases. But it is our responsible, leader responsible to mention that. Before 2 weeks, before 2 weeks, we had sent list of this hardwares and software to your system admin people by your team lead. If tomorrow execution means I can't send today and ask them to set up everything, not possible. Before 2 weeks, we should list out what are the techniques we have to implement and what hardwares we require, what softwares we require, what type of mission we require, what OS we require, what processors we require, how much memory required. So this setup is not our setup here. This setup is client setup. Once we release a product to customer into production, it will go with the same setup. That means we should test which is equal to production on the same environment which is equal to production side. So that we have to set up everything. It is none of your business. It is set up by a system admin people, but you should know. You should verify before you start testing your project, before you start executing your test cases. You come and verify your missions, whether it is installed with all this required environment setup or not. Ensure it. That is called test environment also. Not only that, what's that? It's telling us very clearly what browsers we require. Everything should be set up here. And then test case pass or test case fail criteria. When to pass a test case, when to fail test case. In what conditions? Criteria means what conditions. All of you know that. If any test case is deviating from expected results, if any test case is deviating from your expected results, then we have to treat it as failure or a bug. Every bug is having criteria bug fail. When you report a bug to customer, to developer, we must report with these 5 types. We can report as blocker. We can report as very high severity. We can report as high severity, medium severity, low severities. So different types. We'll discuss again in bug life cycle. What is blocker? When you report as blocker, when you report as very high, when you report as high severity, when you report as medium, when you report as low and all that. But it's telling us when to pass and when to fail. When expected and actual both are equal, don't fail that, pass it. When you find any deviation between the expectedness and the actual results of your application, then fail that test case and report as bug to developer immediately. We'll discuss how to report blocker, how to report as very high, medium, low, etc. At the same time, he's telling us very clearly defect analysis and closure. What is this defect analysis and closure means? At the time of delivery, suppose by next week, maybe by Thursday, we are releasing the product to customer, assume that. So before we start delivering the build, we have to ensure if any bugs or defects are available in it. It should be analyzed by the testing team with project manager. If any bug is not necessary to be fixed, then it can be closed. Go and check it out. Suppose you reported 20 defects, whole team. Before releasing to customer, go and check them whether 20 defects have been fixed by developers or not, and you retested and closed them or not. Yes, some chances are there. Some defects can be postponed also because of some issues. So discuss with the manager, discuss with the leader before we close the projects. At the same time, deliverables. What are test deliverables over here? Is giving very clearly the modules which we are going to deliver to the client on the current version. Yes, we'll divide all the modules into multiple phases, and also leader will be providing target deadlines to every testing team. So that modules and deadlines. Say for example, book a flight is one module. In that book a flight, manage by booking PNR status. For example, I have taken flight application. So 30th September, the deadline is given to one fellow, will be assigned to one fellow. He should work on 30th September, for example. Next, flight schedules, corporate benefits, we should complete in 1st October. Spite Connect should be completed 30th December. So he'll assign tasks to every individual tester as I forwarded one Primus Bank to all of you guys. Right now, we are going to work on the entire project. All of us are going to write same test case and all that, right? But real time, it won't be like that. You have your own different modules will be assigned to concerned department. Whatever modules assigned to your name, you go and test on that particular modules. Don't go beyond that. Don't fight each other. Leader will tell you what are your responsibilities in that project. Before assigning tasks to any tester, he'll consider the tester's performance, experience, okay, how much of experience you have on that domain and how much of experience you have. Based on your performance, based on your experience, leader will know who can work on what. That based on that, he will schedule the task to everybody. According to the schedules, you have to go and write test cases for those modules. That's what I'm telling you guys. Before you start writing your test cases, you have to go through your test plan and you have to understand your roles and responsibilities and you have to test accordingly. Automation testing. This is optional. If it is automation team is available in a company, then they will schedule what are the modules automation team has to automate them and what tool they have to use. They'll describe very clearly for that automation team. Yes, every project will have some risks and mitigations, no doubt about it. Risks and mitigations. What is a risk and what is a mitigation? Risk is a problem. What is a mitigation means? Solution to overcome that problem is called mitigations. Yes, we should identify them. So here, the leader, the list of risks which a team is going to face while executing the project and also with the related solutions will be described here. Risk, for example, person shortfall. We have less members for that project testing. Maintain buffer resource. Take from Benston, who is sitting in the bench, take them to that project. Continuous requirement changes. We have every time requirements are changing on one particular functionality. Analyze the requirements every time. Go backward. Analyze it. Lack of peer reviews. No reviews are happening. Monitor the peer reviews every time. So, whatever risks we have in the project, for every risk we have a solution also at the same time. That is what we call risks and mitigations also. Not only that, they are explaining us hardware and software requirements also. Yes, this software for employees, not for everybody. They mention how many laptops we required, how many mobiles we required based on the project, how many printers we required. Based on the project requirements, they'll describe everything very clearly. And here, resource planning. Resource planning means nothing but how many members required for manual testing, how many members required for automation testing, how many members required for database testing will be described very clearly. And finally, is going to mention test summary report or build post-pattern report. That means once testing is completed, you have done your testing. The team lead has to prepare the summary report. It contains summary of testing. It will explain us how many test cases we prepared for that project, how many test cases got executed, how many got failed, how many got passed, how many got blocked. They'll explain very clearly. But what is the main purpose and object of test plan is? A test plan document acts like a guideline document, acts like a roadmap for testing a project. A test plan is useful to determine the following things like scope of testing. We'll understand what type of testing should be done and what approaches to be followed, means type of techniques to be followed, how many resources required, and what schedules we have. This is the main target of this test plan. That's what. Before you start writing your test case, first you'll receive a copy of test plan from your team lead and review that test plan, understand yourself, and then start your business. So once the test plan is forwarded to your team lead and to the client and managers, once they approve it, and then the plan will be given to testing team. And you also gone through the test plan, you understand your responsibilities, you understand your roles in that project. And next we have to go for test analysis. What is this test analysis? Means this is your part. From here, it is purely test involvement. No more developer, no more leaders involvement. It's purely test involvement as per STLC process we are going. Yes, you want to write test cases. That's the main target. Another target you have right now, right? You want to write test case, a very good test case. When you can write a very good test case, I can write a very good test case once I know something about that project requirements. Once I know the flow of the project. Once I understand architectural structure of the project. Once I understand specification flow. Once I understand the task flow of the application. Once I know the flow of the application. Then don't write blindly. So here, during test analysis, you guys will give time, go through various documentation, study them. We'll forward you all the documents which you require for your project, SRS, BRS, whatever documents required, we'll forward all the documentation to you. Analyze them. Analyze in terms of testing. Don't analyze in terms of any other aspects. Analyze in terms of testing. Determine them. What exactly we should test. How to test all the requirements. You plan yourself. Yes, you guys are going through test plan through SRS. Assume that you are going through SRS documentation or BRS documentation. You are not understanding some of the requirements which are explained by your business analyst. You know, SRS is prepared by business analyst, not anybody. All of you know that. You are going through that. You are not understanding. You are having some doubts. You have some questions. No problem. Raise them. Record that questions. Post your questions to your respective department. Immediately, next day, you'll get clarification from them. That's what I'm asking you. I don't want you guys to write a blind test case. Any issues you are facing, post the questions to concerned department. They'll clarify your doubts. With the SME, we call them subject matter expert team, and get clarification on that. Without clarification, if we go on writing test cases, that won't make sense to us, right? That's what say. BRS documentation template will be like this in real time. They'll explain introduction of the client, a client introduction. They'll explain something about the project, what we received, what are existing environment system required for that project, what drawbacks we have in that system, what client proposed, what client is proposing us, what system architecture. That's what, see, very clearly they're explaining you. You take your own time, understand it, go through it, understand the documentation. And if you go through SRS documentation, SRS contents which I forwarded all of you, overview, prototypes, screenshots will be there, page elements will be there, what objects required, what elements required, what forms required. And we have business validations like minimum data, maximum data, use case diagrams, DFD, data flow diagrams, task flow diagrams, use cases, very clearly specified. Go through it, understand it before you start writing your test cases. That means once you may take real time. If it's a new project for your company, you may be taking 2 weeks of time, no problem. Take your own time. Once you are giving assurance that you understand everything, then only will allow you to go on writing the test cases. Blindly, we don't allow you guys to write the test cases. Okay? And once we complete this analysis process, understanding the requirement process, understanding and whatever questions, sometimes they'll conduct meetings also with you, don't worry. They'll give you some kind of trainings, okay, through WebEx. They'll connect with something and they'll train you first of all. They don't allow any tester, not only tester, even developer also. They should have some knowledge compulsory. Without having knowledge, blindly, we can't ask you to test my project. Okay, and after completion of this analysis and all that, now we are going for test design. Test design is your main process in manual testing. What you're doing during test design means, during test design, testing team have to prepare scenarios, test cases, and test data based on the test case which are collected from team members, and the team lead will prepare traceability matrix for the project. So before you start writing test case, first we have to identify the scenarios in that project, identify the test cases in that project, identify the test data if required, and also prepare traceability matrix, which is prepared by TL. TL means team lead. So let us see now in our premise project what I gave you. I don't know how many of you gone with that. Let me show you how to identify scenarios in that and how to prepare those scenarios. What is scenario? First of all, why you want to prepare scenarios means it will be very useful at the time of uh, after completion of your execution. It will be very useful for your team lead. It will be useful for your client to understand, to trace it out, which scenario is covered, which scenario is not covered. A scenario is nothing but a functionality, an item. You document. I can't remember tomorrow. If you don't document in Excel, nobody can remember it. 2, 3 models, okay. Hundreds of models, nobody can remember. So you document them. You identify them. What are the functionalities we have? What are the scenarios we have in our project? Identify them and prepare in a Excel sheet as a documentation of Excel. The template will be like this. Project name, define your project. Excel, we have to prepare now. We have to prepare Excel. See that, which I send you SRS documentation. I think all of you gone with that project documentation, all of you guys. Have you gone through it, all of you? Only few people gone or everybody? Hmm?
I also have gone through the document.
Okay. Okay, right. Now see, first of all, how to identify scenarios in this project. Our project name is Primus Bank here. This Primus Bank is not a local application. It's an international bank like HDFC, ICICI Bank. Name of the bank is Primus, and we have requirements only for admin module. Admin module. We are working on admin, complete admin. Admin means like as administrator. Suppose if I want to start one new branch in any one of the in Hyderabad. Suppose if I want to start one new branch, admin should take care of it. Well, what admin can do, he can create new branch, he can create roles for that branch, he can create employees for that branch, he can create users for that branch. That is purely taken care by whom? Administrator, right? So here we need to identify each and every module accordingly. So and also once you identify them, you have to prepare them in Excel compulsory. Open an Excel sheet as per the template I gave here. So first we have to give name of the project. First highlight like this. Select number of rows at a time. No problem. Highlight. Bold it and make it as 40. No problem. Okay. For observation. First we have to give project name. Name of the project. We know our project name of the project is Primus. Primus Bank. This is first one. Right? And second one is document reference. Document, alt enter, reference. References. Okay. What are the documentations you refer to prepare scenarios means I can say a forest document, functional requirement specification document. Next, author. Author means the fellow who is preparing this template, your leader name. Okay. You can provide your leader name. And also reviewed by, created date also you can maintain. Created date. So this template will vary from organization to organization here. So date. And then he'll also maintain reviewed by whom it is reviewed. It also will be specified here. And also reviewed on. And what date it has reviewed. So this is the template they'll maintain according to their project business point of view. They'll maintain that. Okay. Under this fifth row is template. Under this we have to maintain template. Where the template is scenario ID. Just provide name of this scenario you are writing. Module. The name of the module. Next, we have to maintain requirement name. Requirements. You can say requirement name or ID. Name of the requirement, or we can give ID, unique ID of the requirement also. And next thing is test scenario. Name of the scenario, just one line statement. We have to prepare scenarios in one line statement, not in multiple statements. This is what the template you have to maintain here. And this template, you can select this template completely. And finally, we may have one more column here, comments column. Comments are given by your team lead, not by you. And highlight like this. Highlight with some color, no problem. And if you want to see rows and columns, all border, we can do all border, so that we can see all rows and columns. When I keep on moving up and down, so that when I keep on moving up and down, the template is moving up and down, right? It's very difficult in that case. So I want to freeze this template. But remember, real time templates are prepared by team lead, none of your business. You don't prepare all this template. They'll send you to Outlook Express. Okay. They'll forward your emails. Don't worry. Just download it and start it. But practice what is there. See. Now, if it is moving every time, how to freeze this template means, look at here. Up to where we have template means up to fifth row we have template, right? Select sixth row, complete sixth row. Select complete sixth row. Go to view menu. In that view menu, we have freeze panes here. Look at, open this freeze panes. Select freeze panes. Automatically your template will be freeze now. It got freezed. It won't move up and down. Easy for us to understand what we're writing. Now under this we have to write our scenarios one by one, right? Before that, highlight again. Select number of rows. How many rows you are planning? Select number of rows at a time. No problem. Select number of rows at a time. Okay. And right click to mouse. Format cell. Go to format cell. In that, click on alignments. Horizontal should be always left intent. Select horizontal as left intent. Vertical should be always at the top. Whatever you write, it should be always at the top. And the text control, we have to control your text. So wrap the text and click OK. So that we can control our test case also. Same way, again go to home, all border for highlighting the rows and columns, all border. So that highlights the rows and columns, highlights so that we can observe clearly. And for your observation, you can increase your rows, font also. I am taking to 12 for your observation and bold it also. Okay. Now, under this template, we need to identify the scenarios from this Primus Bank FRS documentation and we have to write. First scenario, what identified here is home page, Primus Bank home page. First, we have to write one scenario for this. This is one scenario. So, how many scenarios we have? We have to write that many test cases. So, first scenario, ID, we can give ID as TS. TS stands for test scenario. TS stands for test scenario. People give like that. And give one number for that. I am giving one unique number underscore 001. This is scenario number 1. Module name, all of you know, our module name is completely, we are working on admin module. Requirement name or requirement ID. For this also I can say RUQ underscore 001. That means this scenario is belonging to so-and-so requirement ID. Scenario. What is the scenario? Verify Primus Bank home page. Just specify that name of the module. This is my one scenario. By tomorrow, you can forget everything, so that if I document them, nobody can forward, nobody can forget, and it will be easy for them to review in future also. This is one scenario. Next, second scenario. Again, number will be TS underscore 002, second scenario, and same module name will be admin module only, and requirement ID also will be RUQ underscore 002. Next module is come down. I am not writing my own scenarios. I am identifying according to my project as per SRS. See, admin login is one scenario or not? Yes, admin login. Verify admin login with valid data. We have tried positive and negative. Next, scenario number will be 3. Same admin module. Verify admin login with invalid data. Invalid test data. Right? This is one scenario. So for login, we have two scenarios. One for valid, one for invalid. Next model, what is that next model? We have to go for branches, right? Come down. Don't worry about use case because we're not writing test case. We're writing scenarios now. Admin login we identified. For branches, what is a branches? What is the module branches module means? Branches module will help administrator or admin of that bank. He can create a new branch. He can modify a branch, means update. Modify is nothing but update. He can delete a branch, and also he can search the information of that branch. He can search for branches also. How many branches we have all over respect to countries, respect to so-and-so states and so-and-so city. So how many scenarios here we have? Write them. That first scenario is, what is the first scenario? Searching. So immediately here you can border for your understanding, not mandatory. You can border like this. Right click to mouse, format cells, merge cell, and highlight with some light color here. Just for bordering purpose I am doing it. Just border with a light color and just give the model. What you are preparing next scenarios is get into center, press up space bar, give that branches. Here again TS underscore 004, fourth scenario, belonging to admin module, belonging to requirement again REQ underscore 004. And here what that first scenario we need to identify? Verify branch search. If you understand one functionality, remaining models are very simple. Next, requirement ID 5, admin module, requirement ID, scenario ID. Next is verify that next module, one search is happened, new branch creation. Right? So for new branch creation, we have to check with positive and negative. So write that scenario here itself. So verify new branch creation with valid data. At the same time, one more scenario for that is, what is that? With invalid data. Next scenario is, what that next scenario we have? Once you create a branch, when you're able to create a branch, you should be able to update a branch, you should be able to delete a branch also, compulsory. Yes or no? You should able to create a branch, you should able to update a branch also. So for everything where there is a creation, there is updation, deletion here. Okay, na? So next one is verify branch updation. I am not writing my own. See, look at, come here. See, branch creation. Okay, next, come down, come down. Branch updation. Come down. Next one is branch deletion. So according to SRS, we are identifying. So verify branch updation. Next, one more scenario is what that one more scenario? Verify branch deletion. Define that. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 4 scenarios are belonging to one requirement. What that requirement is? Branches module. So if anyone asking you how many scenarios we have for branches, you can easily add, oh yes, we have 5 scenarios. So we have to write 5 test cases for this compulsory. Same way, next module, highlight like that. Border it. Right click to mouse. Format cell. Merge cell. Highlight with some light color. Same color. Next module is, we are going with, again, get into center. Press the space bar for that. Roles module. What are the scenarios we have for roles? Come down. Look at that. Next is roles. Same. We are able to, you should able to create a new role. You should able to update a role and you should able to delete a role. No such role. We can't search the roles. Okay. Creating. First is role creation. New role creation. Identify that. Scenario number TS underscore 009. Module is admin module. Requirement ID is also RUQ underscore 009. So here we have 5 scenarios for this, right? We have 5 scenarios. 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, what that first scenario? Verify new role creation with valid data. Drag it. Next, verify role updation. Here we have to go with what? With invalid data. Next, verify role deletion. So these are the 4 scenarios we have for roles. Next, again, highlight that complete rows. Right click to mouse. Format cell. Merge cell. Click OK. Next, what is that next scenario? Users. Right? Next scenario is users. For users, how many scenarios we have? Go and check it out. Role creation, role updation with that. Role updation is done. Role deletion also we have done, right? Now we are going for users. Yes, for users, we can search user. Look at that. We can search users. We can create new user. We can update user. We can delete user. So the detail space will give clear information. Or else you go and check it out. First scenario is what for roles? User search. So prepare again. TS underscore 013, 13th scenario. Admin module. RUQ underscore 013. So for this we have 5 scenarios. Five scenarios we have for users, right? So what that first scenario we have? Verify user search. That's what I'm saying. Updation, deletion, no positive, no negative here. Don't need to write negative because same module we are updating, same module we are deleting. Only for creation we have to check with positive data, negative data. Okay. So here, what the next module? Verify new user creation with valid data. Same thing, we have to check with what? Invalid data. And here we have to verify user updation. User updation. Next, we need to verify user deletion. Yes, these are the scenarios we have. Last scenario, what we have here? For the last scenario, we have employee scenario. Right click on it again, format cells, merge cells, click OK to it, format with some light color, and give that border. Press the space bar to get center, no problem. Employees. So for that scenario number will be TS underscore 018, 18 scenario, admin module. Requirement also will be REQ underscore 018. So for this, 4 requirements we have. What is that? We want to look at that scenarios first. User search we done, user creation we have done, user deletion we have done, updation we have done, user deletion also we have done. Next model, last model, what we have? Employees. For employee, see that we can create a new employee, we can go for editing, updating employee, deleting no searching employee. So 4 positive negative headers. So first verify new employee creation with valid data. So same way we have to check with what? Invalid, compulsory. And verify employee updation. And verify employee deletion. Okay, so we can write according to our business. So how many scenarios we have? 21 scenarios we have. So how many requirements we have? 21 requirements. So how many test case total we have to prepare now? How many test case we need to prepare here for this entire project? Almost how many test case we get? Anybody? How many test cases we get? Test cases. No idea. How many test cases we can prepare here?
4, sir.
4 or 5?
Roles, employees.
You need to prepare 21 test cases. Every scenario is one test case. They are the main requirements. Employees, users, they are the main modules. Okay. We can't prepare only for branches. In that branches, we have to prepare this many test cases. Okay. That's what. So almost we get 21 test cases, positive, negative. That's what. See, we can't remember by tomorrow. Nobody can remember. That's the reason we are documenting in Excel sheet. Once you go Jira, there we discuss in agile process how you define stories in Jira. Okay, na? So I hope all of you guys also prepare the same thing in your system in Excel. Now you have work. Now your work starts from now. Okay, and tomorrow I'll start test cases. How to design test case for all these scenarios. One very simple. I hope I gave 4 days time for understanding this documentation, but I don't know how many of you gone with that. Understand, it's very simple to design test cases. Manual testing is very simple, you have nothing to worry. Okay, understand them, understand the flow, then we can design test case very easily. Okay guys, so then tomorrow class I'll start test case preparation one by one. Okay na? Okay, all of you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Fine. Right. So see you tomorrow again. Test case preparation. Okay.